everybody, my name is Maria del Mar Guzman Montoya and I'm doing this video for my class, Colombian Education. And we are here with an amazing guest, a dedicated English teacher. She graduated from the University of Antioquia in 2023 and is now a full-time English teacher at San Juan Eudes School in Medellin, Antioquia. And course director of 7th grade. It's my pleasure introducing teacher Manuela Palacios.
Hi, Maria. Thank you so much for the invitation. I'm really happy to be here with you today. So tell me, what is this interview about? I'm so curious.
Great question. So this interview is actually part of an academic project I'm doing for the university. The main idea is to explore how English teachers like to experience and apply bilingualist policies in their everyday teaching. Okay, so we are going to talk about different things like the national English curriculum, the basic learning rights, how technology supports your teaching, and also how you adapt your lessons for students with special needs. And it's not only about what's written in documents, it's about the real life classroom experience, and your personal perspective is super valuable for this.
Oh, okay. That sounds super interesting. I'm ready. Let's do this.
Okay, perfect. Let's start with my questions. So, Manuela, what do you believe will be the role of local communities in emerging bilingual education policies?
I believe local communities should have an active role. They know their own needs and cultural context. If bilingual policies consider their opinions, the programs will be more effective and realistic, especially in rural or indigenous areas.
You know what? I totally agree with you. Involving local communities make the policy more like meaningful and adapted to the real needs. I've seen that in my own experience too. When the community is engaged, results will improve. Now, I would like to know, how do you apply the basic learning rights of English when you're planning and setting your lessons?
Well, I use the DBA as a guide when I plan my lessons. They help me set goals for each grade and make sure my students develop the basic skills in listening, writing, reading, and speaking. And I also use them as a reference for my rubrics and evaluations.
That's a very practical approach. I also like using them to align the objective clearly, and I think having that structure help us be more consistent with what we want our students to achieve, right? Um, okay. Have you used the Suggest English curriculum by the Ministry of Education? If so, what has your experience been like?
Yes, I have used it. It is very helpful because it gives clear guidelines and topics for each level. But sometimes I need to adapt it to my students' real level, especially when they come from different schools or don't have the expected knowledge.
Oh, well, that makes a lot of sense. I have had to do that too before. Sometimes the gap between the curriculum and the actual level of the students is very wide, and we have to be flexible as teachers, right? Okay, I have another one. In what ways does the Suggest curriculum contribute or limit your pedagogical freedom?
Um, It helps me organize the contest and objectives from each grade. But sometimes it feels too rigid, especially when students are behind. I like to include games and cultural topics, but I need to make sure I follow the suggested topics too.
Oh, I totally relate. It gives a structure, but at the same time, we need like some space to be creative and adjust our strategies, right? I think the balance is the key. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about some technological tools. What technological tools do you find most useful for teaching English in your educational context?
I often use YouTube videos, Kahoot, and Wordle. They are very interactive and keep students engaged. When I don't have internet, I prepare offline PowerPoint activities or I use audio files with speakers.
Oh, those are great tools. I use them too, especially Wordwall. I think is my favorite. It really keeps the students motivated. And yes, having a plan B for when there is no internet is so important. We cannot just super trust on the internet reception. Thank you. Okay, talking about technologies. How have technology transformed your way of teaching English?
Technology has changed everything. Before, I only used textbooks. Now I can show real life videos, songs, and interactive exercises. It helps students practice listening and pronunciation in more natural ways.
Absolutely. It opens so many possibilities. I've noticed students get more excited when they see a real world English, not just grammar exercise from books, right?
Yep.
Okay. So, how do you adapt your English class for students with disabilities or special needs education?
I try to use visual aids, simple instructions, and more time for activities. If a student has reading difficulties, I give them oral instructions. If a student has hearing problems, I use written materials and gestures.
That's pretty thoughtful strategy. I also had the students who need extra time or support, and adapting our methods make a real difference. It is inspiring to hear how you approach it. Okay, so what training or additional resources do you think a teacher needs to address diversity in the English classroom?
We need more training in inclusive education and strategies for different types of disabilities. Also, more access to adapted materials and support from professionals like psychologists or special education teachers.
Oh my gosh, I totally agree. Sometimes we are expecting to handle everything alone, but support and proper training really help us give students what they really need, right? I think that sometimes the system should improve a little bit. Okay, Manuela, that will be everything for today. Thank you so much for your time and your valuable answers. I learned a lot from you today, and I'm sure other teachers will too. It was really great to hear your sides and your passion for inclusive and meaningful teaching English. I hope I see you soon.
Bye.